Galactic Riches event. Nice event, still got 5.5 days or so remaining. It's a great event if you're like me and you have a lot of credits, you have a lot of different things that you can trade in. You can trade in things for globes like like I said, credits, different boosters. I've already spent about 3,500 of these purple crew boosters. You can also do XP boosters. You see I still have a lot of those as an example. So to do that, all you have to do is click it, you get 100 globes, and you need different values to actually get. So with 150, you can get the Galactic containers. I've opened a lot of these. You can see you get different things for them, free XP, gold, etc. What can you get? You can get a lot of things within the Galactic containers. I think they're the best investment. You could also get the Jupiter camo for tier 10, 10 XP if you're grinding a line. The stupidest thing in the world is the Galactic Riches profile background. It's 20,000 globes. Please don't do that. You can get gold boosters. You see I've used mine, 7 days of free experience and other free experience. So I always use things that help me play the game. Now, the other things you get with the Galactic container are the tanks. You can get the Churchill GC, the Toaster, the PZ SFL 4C, and another tiny tank that Lek just did a video on just recently. There it is, this tiny, the UE57. Lek is calling this the Rat. Maybe that is its name. But let's do a quick, I'm not going to review the Rat, but I do want to review a quick review of the Toaster and the Churchill gunship. Two excellent tanks. The Toaster, as you can see, is a strange looking beast. It has low on hit points and no armor, but it has okay concealment, terrific damage per minute, and high alpha for the tier 220. As you can see there, average damage, 194 average pen. It's got a tier 8 cannon. That is fantastic. Its HE is 44, 270. 270 in tier 5 is unheard of. It's got 3.8 aim time, 2.272 dispersion. Excellent values. It's a great sniper, except for the camo is not that good, so keep that in mind. It also has upper gun limit of 35, so this thing can point to the sky. And it moves 60 top speed, reverse 20. And power to weight is 16.5. It's not that fast, but it definitely turns. And you'll see that in my example. So let's do a quick Toaster replay, and then we will jump into the Churchill gunship. All right, this one is in Himmelsdorf. It is really a tier 4 battle, so I'm not quite sure what god I did to sacrifice to get this matchmaking. Right away, I am going to my favorite sniping spot when you go to the heavy side of this battle, which is the kind of this alley, I guess the external alley on the heavy side. I believe this is the C-cap when it is in supremacy mode. And this is a good spot for getting people, for getting all kinds of people when they cross over the heavy side. It worked actually quite well here because we had a lot of folks pushing this side. This, I would say, one of the challenges with this spot is if you're going to sit here, you got to be patient. You can't just you can't just assume. In this case, perfect example. There comes a DW2 in an easy, nearly 200 shot there to clear him. If I was a more patient player, which I'm not, I could have just hung around here and probably would have made this match even easier. However, I really want to get shots into this DW2. And again, with the camo of this Toaster, you can't push with it like you would push with some other tanks. That's the one thing I've learned. And you see me backing up after I get spotted because I do not want to get tangled up with anyone. You get this thing, you get tangled with anyone. Somebody comes close to you and spot you from proximity, you are done. You have 0 armor. You can't do anything to defend yourself. But that being said, like I mentioned, the minus 20 reverse speed helps you get out of there. I actually don't think I'm spotted yet. I am just tearing apart that T1 heavy. And obviously, if you know your tier 4 or 5s, you got to take T1 heavies out. They are OP, especially in the front. Very few tanks in tier 5 can pen the front of a T1 heavy without Pramo like this tank, or this tank can. So we got the T1 heavy out, but it is still 5-on-4. And I'm trying to get the DWT out because he seemed like an idiot. And then there's the M8A1 over here who was pushing in. Couldn't really do much there. That Matilda BP, poor guy, he was actually having a terrific game. I think he ended up with 5 kills, but that's about it. And now 4-on-4. This is one of those battles where you're playing and the whole time your teammates just keep dying, and you don't understand why. Well, the reason they're dying here is if you look, is they're all crowding in that area that really has no cover. In the tier 5s, or the Matilda BP and that M8A1 are just tearing them apart. There goes the Matilda. In this DW2, I was trying to get in there. Unfortunately, left it on HE, so I couldn't pen. So, got myself into now a 3-on-4, and I was desperately trying to get the Matilda out. But luckily, our Su-85, who was not a good player, was able to do it and called it a day. Here we go next. So at this point, I decided to push. As I mentioned, that Matilda BP was having a great game. I was worried about him, but he only had 87 HP. There shows up their Valentine MK9. I got very lucky. You notice the traverse speed on this tank. It's so fast. I got very lucky in both of these shots that I landed them. I was wiggling around like an idiot. I guess that one wasn't too lucky. But the great thing is the pen is so high on this cannon. It makes sloppy aiming okay. So was able to clear him. I was hoping this Su-85 would help me push. I was down to 272. 272. The good thing is I knew the Valentine has relatively low alpha. I don't remember what the HE alpha on this tank is, but it's a good tank. Sig beat me in on a one-on-one the other day with pretty much every tier 4 I brought against it. But nonetheless, I know I've got massive DPM in comparison here and much bigger alpha. And there is how the toaster gets her done. Done. So great tank, great camo as well. This Jupiter camo, I slapped it on the toaster. Looks great. Fun tank to have. I didn't own it before because it disappeared from the tech tree. This is a nice little game, just a Mastery Class 1. Nothing too special to write home about. All right, the Churchill gun carrier, GC. There it is. Another very interesting looking tank. It's very long. And again, I have the Jupiter camo on it. If you look at the tank, 900 hit points is quite low, like a lot of TDs. It does say it has 130 armor. I'll take a look at the armor in a second. The armor sucks. Don't assume it's going to bounce much. It does bounce, just not much. Concealment similar to the toaster, 66, 48, 21. Nothing to write home about, but the DPM is phenomenal. I think it might be the highest DPM in the tier with AP. And reload time, because of that, is really low. AP, the average pen is fantastic at 214. 240, and you see I'm not even calibrating. That's with the rammer. 246 APCR and 47 HE. Fantastic. You could calibrate this. The only reason I would do that is to get more pen on the HE, but I think using the rammer here makes the most sense. And you look at the average damage, 250, 210, 330, excellent values. And again, an excellent cannon. 3.2 aim time, 0.281 dispersion. Gun elevation is poor, 12, but depression is 10, which is epic. It is awesome. Gun turn limit's 5, it's fine. And you can see it's a bit slower, obviously, than the toaster, but its power to weight's kind of low. So that doesn't really make sense because the whole turn rate is fantastic. This thing does turn incredibly well, given the size and everything else on there. All right, so I had a couple of good games, but I'm just going to show one. This is a game with Artie in Middleburg, and we are kind of found ourselves a nest of morons on both teams. Obviously, we were going to go up, and I'm just going to go to that. This thing takes a long time to climb the hill. But again, it's a slow tank with good traverse. Not a lot of TDs like it. I'm sure somebody can think of one. I struggle to think of one quite like it. Maybe the T95, although the T95's traverse is still is better, but not quite this fast. Artie and I are taking the strong position up there. We saw the Chaffee and the Skoda, and we have a 4-on-3 up here, so it's a good opportunity to push. This Steve 7842 got in my way and really messed this area up. The guy's an idiot. You see him there ramming me for no reason. He made it difficult for me to turn and land more shots. Artie, however, took the frontal position as you should when you're in an ARL. Well done, Artie. He's taking the damage, and then the Skoda is actually running away right now, but that enabled us to clear him, work on him, and this Ox. Lots of stupid tanks in tier 6 these days. Ox, all kinds of things. However, if you're looking at the game at a high level, you realize that their team is nearly all in town. Oh, that was a terrible shot. The on-movement dispersion of this tank is pretty good. I just aimed too low on that. That was my bad. All right, so now we got a 5-on-4, and watch this STRV 742. I even said he's an idiot, and watch this. He runs into town. There's a KV2 in there, and 3, 2, 1, boom. Idiot. And then that's not bad enough. I think he's got company there. There goes our Type 64. I think Type 64s have like cardboard for armor, and he's going to go do pretty much the same thing. So Artie and I were planning to stay up here and do the best we could. Unfortunately, our teammates did not help us. Now, I will say a mistake I made here is Artie and I could have gone to the other side and stayed together. It would have been easier However, I chose to take this position knowing that I could hopefully get some shots on the 100Y, the KV2, and then you see the other KV2. There's a full health other KV2 over there. So it's 3 against 4, but not looking particularly good. I was hoping the Firefly would draw the KV2 that's near and to get some shots into 100Y. Just hit the track of the 100Y. That would have made the game easier. I thought I'd have to rush here, and then the KV2 came, so I actually backed up. Wanted to clear this guy. He did unfortunately clear our Firefly, but as you see there, this is a terrific cannon to get that shot and to clear him. However, at this point, it is a 1-on-4. Already did the God's work up there. Watch this shot through the gap. Very, very fortunate. However, at this point, it is a 1-on-3, so it's Kalabanov time. Can I pull it off? Now, here's the thing. The gunship, the gun carrier's got a -10 gun depression, and it's got a great cannon. So it's a really good tank to do this with. And, you know, I probably should have stayed in this area longer because I have a really good angle and cover. However, you know, as you can see, this ended up being kind of a battle with the ARL. And the reason I backed up here is I was expecting the ARL to come with the KV2 and the SU-100Y. I was expecting a 3-on-1. However, they didn't. That did not happen. And you can see in a second where the SU-100Y starts to cap. So the game changes. Now remember, that KV2 in the back was full health. So the question is too, what to do with the KV2. At this point I realize I have a lot of damage and I got a nice shot. And again, -10 gun depression allows you to do that. I mentioned the armor on the tank. I forgot to show it to you, but I'll show it to you in a second. You can't bounce shots off an ARL. Even if you're angled at 10, they're gonna pen every single time. And it's because of how flat the front of this is. There's just no angle at all. So you can angle down 10 degrees. It's still at a very shallow angle, so it makes it very easy to pen. So I got 462 hit points. I knew I could take a shot from the ARL. I see the cap points adding up. Again, I assume there are 2 tanks there. And I'm trying to rush in to see what I can do and see if I can clear this guy. Now, fortunate that I must have cleared my ammo or whatever wasn't being spotted, and I got to clear the ARL. So still 462 hit points left. I'm getting advice here from Steve, who again, that's the guy that ran in front of the KV2 sideways. Thanks, Steve. Yeah, that's another way to say thank. STFU is a thanks in some languages, Russian, I think. So on I push. Again, I expected KV2, and I knew the SU-100Y. You know, the way the cap's moving up, you can tell it's only 1 tank. But I'm a 1 shot to both tanks depending on what they hit, or 0 shot. They could both clear me. Made kind of a slow turn here. Unfortunately, took a shot from I was too close to the wall. Took a shot from that 100Y to get me down to 11 hit points. And there's the KV2. Now I thought I was gonna be dead here in about 2 seconds, but KV2 was AFK. So thank you, RNGesus. It hasn't been a very lucky week in terms of tanking. So, but this certainly made it worthwhile. And you can see the DPM with this tank. I mean, you are just laying down some damage. So overall, it was a nice little Kalabanov. I appreciated Artie's help here. It was without him, it wouldn't have even had a chance. 2147 damage, 4 kills. I think I killed them all there at the end. And here is our friend from Rolly Clan. OP, baby. OP. All right, last thing here is the armor for the Churchill gun carrier. You can see it is red, but it's red at 133 millimeters. And if you slant this thing down 10 degrees or more, it just doesn't go down. So you can't, while you have -10, don't think you're gonna bounce anything from big guns. Where you will bounce stuff from is little tanks. If you're angled, you know, you can bounce, and I've bounced more than I expected with this tank off little mediums and things like that, but you're not gonna bounce anything off an ARL or a Tiger or anything like that, so don't count on it. Thanks so much for watching. Please sub to the channel and get your riches done from this event.